3 victims right now who are willing to give testimony about not only what Mr. Carter has done to them, but his wife as well. They're a nasty little couple. They do nasty things.
What do you think happened with Kim Porter?
Keeping people against their will. Putting people on planes while they're unconscious, just like Aaliyah got on that plane. Unconscious. There's a lot of things that people don't want to talk about, Pierce.
Listen, like I said, Jay-Z and Beyonce are not here, unfortunately, to respond to that.
I know. I'm just being honest with you.
No, you're perfectly entitled to your views, obviously. Kim Porter,
Yes.
a new book claims that Diddy may have been involved in her early death. What do you think of that?
I think people should really look into that more. I am friends with Albie Shore. I love him. I love his children. I knew Kim. We used to all hang out together at the Kit Kat Club back in the mid-90s when Diddy was first starting his reign. I watched that whole thing happen. And everything that Albert has been through, every attempt on his life that has been ignored by the authorities, it all leads back to...
What if I told you that behind the glitz and glamour of Beyonce and Jay-Z's empire lies one of the darkest mysteries in celebrity history? A mistress who suddenly dies. A pregnancy the world now questions. And whispers that Blue Ivy may not be Beyonce's child at all. The story begins with Cathy White, a woman whose name almost disappeared, until shocking claims and resurfaced reports forced it back into the spotlight. Was her death really a tragic accident, or the ultimate cover-up? Stay tuned, because once you hear the details, you'll never look at the Carters the same way again. There was a moment that nearly shook the entertainment world, when Beyonce and Jay-Z were reportedly ready to take Jaguar Wright to court. The tension sparked after she appeared on Piers Morgan's show and unleashed some controversial remarks about the power couple, words that had the potential to ignite a full-blown legal storm.
Allegedly, the song Daughter on Beyonce's Cowboy Carter album, it's potentially a murder confession about Jay-Z's mistress, Cathy White. Buckle up. On August 28, 2011, Beyonce announced her pregnancy at the MTV VMAs. On January 7th, 2012, Blue Ivy was born into this world. In 2016, Beyonce dropped Lemonade. Now, as we all know, Lemonade was a true album about infidelity. Jay-Z was rumored to have a very long-time mistress. People knew of Cathy White because of Jay-Z, okay? So here's where it gets a little crazy. Cathy White was known to be pregnant in 2011. Shortly after giving birth, Cathy died mysteriously in her apartment of a brain aneurysm.
I have a feeling this is related.
Now, even though we saw Beyonce's bump publicly, there's a video of Beyonce sitting down for an interview and her whole stomach just deflates in the video, and it's very weird.
This is crazy.
If you listen to Daughter, the song completely illustrates a confession. The lyrics in the song say, "Your body laid out on these filthy floors, your bloodstains on my custom coutures. Bathroom attendant let me right in. She was a big fan. I tried to stay cool, but your arrogance disturbed my solitude. Now I ripped your dress and you're all black and blue. Look what you made me do." So fans are speculating that Beyonce had Cathy White kissed after Cathy White had the baby and claimed the baby as her own, and that baby is Blue Ivy.
It seems the mystery behind Beyonce and Jay-Z's outrage is finally starting to make sense, and at the center of it all is Jay's late alleged mistress, Cathy White. Rumor has it that Beyonce believed she had buried the scandal once and for all after she and Jay supposedly handled Cathy's sudden death. But as the old saying goes, what's hidden in the dark always comes to light. And now that light is burning brighter than ever. The whispers are chilling. Not only is Jay being accused of orchestrating Cathy's death, but some claim that Cathy was actually Blue Ivy's biological mother. The story goes that Beyonce allegedly convinced Cathy to act as a surrogate, all while publicly flaunting a fake baby bump to make the pregnancy appear real. This arrangement reportedly came after Bey discovered Cathy's affair with Jay. But once Cathy fulfilled her end of the bargain, the narrative turns dark. Claims suggest Beyonce allegedly ordered a hit to remove her permanently. Jaguar Wright has been one of the loudest voices linking the power couple to Cathy's death, and she shows no signs of quieting down. Official reports at the time painted Cathy's passing as natural, said to be the result of a brain aneurysm. but skeptics never bought that explanation, and many still don't to this day. The first to publicly question the inconsistencies was the blogger Hollywood Street King, who not only broke the story of Cathy and Jay's alleged involvement but also claimed that Cathy had reached out to him days before her sudden death, warning that her life was in danger. After she passed, he began digging deeper, determined to uncover the truth. But soon after, his investigation was mysteriously silenced, and his revelations were forced offline. An investigative piece once posted on Hollywood Street King's website has recently resurfaced, reigniting speculation about Cathy White's death and her alleged ties to Jay-Z. Although the article was taken down years ago, as the saying goes, nothing ever truly disappears from the internet. Now, amid fresh allegations surrounding Jay and Beyoncé, the contents of that report are drawing renewed attention. The article began with a bold claim. Hollywood Street King was the first to reveal that 28-year-old Cathy White was Jay-Z's mistress. Don't believe me? Ask Claudia Jordan. For context, Claudia Jordan wasn't just a passing acquaintance, she was Cathy's best friend. Reports even suggest that Jay met Cathy through Claudia. When Hollywood Street King first published the story, it included photographs of Jay, Cathy, and Claudia together at a nightclub just weeks before Cathy's untimely death. That connection has continued to fuel questions about Claudia's role, making her name an important detail in this unfolding narrative. Returning to the original report, Hollywood Street King wrote, "Yesterday, I got the news that Cathy Michelle White had suddenly passed away. So, I quickly began my investigation. And guess what? Cathy did not die from a brain aneurysm as reported widely around the internet today. According to an NYPD detective who told me, Cathy's cause of death is uncertain. Later today, we will have the autopsy and toxicology reports. Right now, the death is considered suspicious." The article further emphasized the eerie timing of Cathy's passing. She died exactly 1 year to the day after the blog first broke the story of her alleged affair with Jay-Z. Adding to the intrigue, the piece revealed that the 911 call reporting her collapse came from an apartment on West 19th Street in Manhattan, a detail that investigators at the time reportedly found noteworthy. According to the resurfaced Hollywood Street King report, the official chain of events surrounding Cathy White's final hours raised more questions than answers. The blogger noted that emergency responders were called to an apartment on West 19th Street in Manhattan after Cathy suddenly fell ill. She was transported to Beth Israel Hospital, where she was later pronounced dead. At the time, reports of a brain aneurysm spread quickly, but the article stressed that it was far too early for such a conclusion. Detectives indicated that an autopsy was scheduled, along with toxicology tests, to determine whether Cathy had ingested something harmful. Those results, the report said, would take roughly 2 weeks to finalize. What makes the timeline even more troubling is what allegedly happened just before Cathy's passing. 2 weeks prior, she was contacted by a major tabloid investigating her rumored affair with Jay-Z. While she didn't provide much detail, sources claimed that after the call, Cathy phoned Jay directly, threatening to go public with their relationship unless she was paid to keep quiet. Then, within days of Beyoncé's high-profile pregnancy announcement, Cathy White was suddenly gone. Observers have long pointed to this suspicious overlap, noting how the timing coincided almost too perfectly. Even more fuel was added to the controversy when a viral clip showed Beyoncé's baby bump appearing to fold like fabric as she sat down during an interview. To many, that footage became proof that something about the pregnancy narrative didn't quite add up. Adding another layer to the controversy, speculation resurfaced last year when Beyoncé released her track Daughter. Many listeners interpreted the song as a veiled reference to Blue Ivy and, more disturbingly, to Cathy White. According to online theories, the lyrics read almost like a confession, hinting at Beyoncé allegedly taking drastic measures against her husband's mistress in order to protect a closely guarded secret. While no direct evidence links the song to Cathy's death, the timing and tone of the track have only fueled ongoing debates among fans and skeptics alike.
Think about Claudia Jordan right now. Claudia Jordan don't ever mention my mother name. She mentioned it yesterday. Talking about why people are afraid to come forward. You mean like you? You was Diddy girl. Corey was Jay-Z girl. Why don't you claim your friend? Claudia.
So, Jack, when you say...
When I say Corey, I'm talking about Cathy White.
Oh, yeah. That's what I was about to ask.
Jay-Z's pregnant mistress,
yeah,
who died of an imaginary fucking aneurysm. Just like the woman who was best friends with Kim and Kimura, who wrote the book Bling and died as soon as it made the bestsellers list. Who the f was these people supposed to go to? You can't go to the boss because the boss is f***ing you. And the boss's boss don't get no f***. Can't go to the authorities. They're all bought and paid for. You could try to get a special prosecutor, but they'll just pay somebody to reassign him to another case. Where the fuck you go when you get f***ed over by the industry? Nowhere. That's where you go nowhere, which is where people like me step in. You right, I go to Diddy parties to walk mother out. Cause ain't nobody stopping me when I come. You Sean.
Hey, man.
Weirdo. I don't get no what you got in your head, that neural link. You'll never outthink me. Ever. All I do is frustrate your AI. You can't quantify me. You can't even control your wife. You gonna handle a bitch like me. You can't even control that goofy bitch. You should have did a better job. Maybe she wouldn't have had to lose her mind on Cathy. Cause you ain't protecting you. You're protecting her. Wonder why?
In essence, the theory circulating online is that Cathy White secretly served as Beyoncé and Jay-Z's surrogate. According to this narrative, once Cathy gave birth to Blue Ivy, Beyoncé allegedly claimed the child as her own and removed Cathy from the picture. For many who believe the story, this explanation neatly fits the puzzle. It accounts for why Blue resembles Beyoncé, despite allegedly being carried by Cathy. Supporters of this theory often point to Beyoncé's own music as evidence. In particular, attention has been drawn to a haunting poem featured in her song Anger, where she describes going to unimaginable lengths to hold onto her husband. The imagery is disturbing, wearing the skin and hair of her partner's deceased lover, using her hands as gloves, her teeth as confetti, even her scalp as a cap. The piece culminates with a chilling vision of the three of them, husband, wife, and mistress, immortalized together in a photograph. For critics, these lyrics sound less like metaphor and more like a thinly veiled admission of something darker. And if the allegations weren't already explosive enough, Jaguar Wright has entered the conversation once again, amplifying the suspicions and refusing to stay silent. Of course, it's important to emphasize that none of these claims have ever been confirmed. They remain firmly in the realm of speculation. No court documents, official investigations, or verified eyewitness accounts have provided evidence to support the allegations surrounding Beyoncé, Jay-Z, or Cathy White. Yet, despite the lack of concrete proof, the theories persist. In fact, they seem to have grown stronger with time, fueled by the internet's ability to breathe new life into whispers, half-truths, and suspicions. Still, that hasn't stopped the public from drawing their own conclusions and pointing fingers at Beyoncé. For many, the mere possibility of a hidden scandal beneath the glamorous surface of one of the most powerful couples in the entertainment industry is too compelling to ignore. It becomes less about proven fact and more about narrative, an irresistible storyline that people feel compelled to piece together. Online discussions remain saturated with comments from users convinced that something sinister must have taken place. On social media platforms, Reddit threads, YouTube comment sections, and gossip forums, strangers trade theories as though they were detectives comparing case notes. Screenshots of old blogs resurface. Archived videos are dissected frame by frame. Even Beyoncé's artistic choices, lyrics, poetry, interviews, are analyzed with forensic intensity by those who believe the answers are hidden in plain sight. One group of commenters insists the alleged surrogacy theory explains every inconsistency in the story. They argue that Beyoncé's infamous folding stomach clip was no accident but a rare glimpse of the truth slipping through the cracks. For them, the timing of Cathy White's death and Beyoncé's pregnancy announcement cannot be chalked up to coincidence. Too neat, too perfect. They write. There's no way it just happened like that. Others approach the debate from a psychological angle. They point to Beyoncé's carefully constructed image, the perfection, the control, the mystique, and suggest that maintaining such a flawless exterior would require drastic measures if threatened. To these skeptics, the allegations serve as proof of the lengths celebrities will allegedly go to preserve power and reputation. Of course, defenders of Beyoncé are equally vocal. Her supporters argue that the rumors are nothing more than cruel fabrications born from jealousy, misogyny, and the internet's endless hunger for conspiracy. They point out that Beyoncé has been subjected to extraordinary scrutiny throughout her career, with critics often reaching for sensationalism rather than truth. To them, the speculation isn't evidence of guilt, it's a reflection of society's obsession with tearing down successful women, particularly black women, who dare to rise to global superstardom. Yet, even with strong defenses, the speculation endures. That's the paradox of modern celebrity culture. Once a theory takes root online, it can thrive indefinitely, regardless of fact. The more a subject remains unaddressed by those at its center, the more room there is for others to fill the silence with theories of their own. In Beyoncé and Jay-Z's case, their very refusal to acknowledge the rumors has become a point of fascination. To fans, their silence signals dignity. To skeptics, it looks like avoidance. The controversy also raises deeper questions about how the public consumes and interprets art. Lyrics and poems, intended as metaphor, artistic expression, or raw emotion, become transformed into evidence. When Beyoncé sings about sacrifice, betrayal, or rage, some interpret her words literally, folding them into the larger narrative about Cathy White. The line between art and confession blurs, and speculation quickly becomes cemented as proof in the minds of believers. The resurfacing of old blog posts, like those from Hollywood Street King, has only added fuel to the fire. Once deleted, these articles now live on through screenshots and archived versions, each detail dissected as though it were part of an unsolved mystery. In one version of the story, Cathy allegedly reached out to a journalist days before her death, fearing for her safety. In another, she supposedly hinted at going public with her affair with Jay-Z. These anecdotes, though unverified, weave together a narrative that feels compelling, if not conclusive. At the core of it all is Cathy White herself. Her name, once largely unknown outside her personal circle, has become immortalized in online debates. For some, she represents a victim of power and circumstance. For others, she is simply a figure around whom conspiracy theories have spiraled out of control. Regardless of perspective, her story, and the questions surrounding it, have not faded. The persistence of these theories speaks volumes about the public's relationship with fame. Celebrities, especially those as influential as Beyoncé and Jay-Z, occupy a paradoxical space in society. They are admired and envied, but also distrusted. Fans project both adoration and suspicion onto them, eager to believe they are extraordinary while simultaneously convinced they hide secrets too dark for ordinary people to imagine. And so the rumors live on. Even without evidence, even in the face of denial or silence, the theories refuse to die. They circulate because they satisfy a cultural appetite, the need to believe that behind the glitz and the music lies a story more human, more flawed, and more scandalous than the official version ever allows. Whether the allegations hold any truth may never be known. But what is certain is that whispers about Cathy White's death, Beyoncé's pregnancy, and Blue Ivy's birth have carved out a permanent space in the folklore of celebrity culture. As long as questions remain unanswered, the story will continue to echo in online conversations, half mystery, half myth, suspended somewhere between speculation and belief. One individual wrote, "When I saw Beyoncé's stomach fold over during that talk show, I immediately wondered why she was pretending to be pregnant. Then I heard Jay-Z's mistress Cathy had died while pregnant. Well, 2 + 2 = 4. They silenced Cathy and took her baby. Honestly, Cathy's grave should be reopened to see if the unborn child is still there, because something tells me that baby is Blue Ivy Carter." Another echoed a similar suspicion. "I feel like Cathy's real pregnancy made Beyoncé jealous and furious. That's why she decided to fake her bump. We all know how the rest played out." These are strong words, and while purely speculative, they highlight the undercurrent of unease that has never fully dissipated from conversations surrounding Beyoncé, Jay-Z, and the late Cathy White. For years, whispers about Cathy's untimely death and Blue Ivy's birth have lived on in the corners of social media, resurfacing every time a new rumor, song lyric, or viral video breathes life back into the mystery. At the heart of these speculations lies a tangled web of timing and appearances. Cathy White's sudden passing came at a moment that some observers describe as too convenient. The official cause of death was listed as a brain aneurysm, yet doubts have lingered. Cathy's alleged connection to Jay-Z, her conversations with tabloids about going public, and her sudden collapse mere days after Beyoncé's pregnancy announcement created a timeline that many skeptics found difficult to ignore. Theories began to swirl online, fueled by blogs and forums that dissected every available piece of information. One recurring point of debate centers on the viral interview clip in which Beyoncé's baby bump appeared to fold unnaturally as she sat down. For critics, the video was a smoking gun, seemingly validating the idea of a staged pregnancy. To them, the possibility of Cathy serving as a surrogate and being silenced afterward fits seamlessly into the narrative. Still, others argue that such theories are far-fetched, rooted more in fascination with celebrity scandal than in fact. Medical experts have long explained that pregnancy prosthetics can shift under clothing, and that what some saw as proof may have been nothing more than an optical illusion. But even rational explanations have done little to quiet the most vocal believers. Fueling the fire further are Beyoncé's own artistic choices. Songs like Anger and Daughter have been interpreted by conspiracy theorists as thinly veiled confessions, pointing to lyrics that speak of obsession, sacrifice, and even violence. Critics argue that these interpretations stretch creative metaphors into dangerous accusations. Yet for those already convinced, the words serve as breadcrumbs, reinforcing the narrative that something darker lingers beneath the surface of the couple's carefully curated image. Jaguar Wright's outspoken commentary has only amplified the controversy. As one of the most persistent voices connecting Beyoncé and Jay-Z to Cathy White's death, Wright's statements have both captivated and divided audiences. To some, she is a truth-teller unafraid to challenge powerful figures. To others, she is a provocateur who thrives on attention and controversy. Regardless of where one stands, her willingness to revive the conversation has kept the story alive in ways it might otherwise have faded into obscurity. The internet has ensured that nothing ever truly disappears. Articles that were once taken down, like those published by Hollywood Street King, continue to resurface through archived screenshots and reposts. In those reports, details about Cathy's final days paint a picture of a woman under immense pressure, fielding calls from tabloids, allegedly reaching out to Jay-Z, and expressing fears for her own safety. Combined with the suspicious timing of her death, these details form the backbone of the ongoing debate. Public fascination with this story also speaks to a broader cultural phenomenon: society's enduring obsession with uncovering secrets behind celebrity lives. Beyoncé and Jay-Z, often portrayed as the pinnacle of success, power, and control within the entertainment industry, naturally invite scrutiny. For some, believing that even they could be entangled in a dark cover-up humanizes them, turning icons into flawed figures capable of devastating choices. Of course, speculation should never be mistaken for fact. No concrete evidence has surfaced linking Beyoncé or Jay-Z to Cathy White's death, nor has there been any official confirmation that Cathy was ever pregnant with Blue Ivy. Theories about surrogacy and conspiracy remain unproven, relying heavily on circumstantial details, personal interpretations, and internet-driven narratives. Yet the persistence of these stories reveals something deeper. Once doubt takes root, it can be nearly impossible to erase. For Beyoncé and Jay-Z, silence has been their shield. Rarely addressing the rumors directly, the couple has instead leaned into their art, their business ventures, and their carefully crafted public image. To their supporters, this restraint demonstrates dignity in the face of baseless accusations. To their detractors, it looks like avoidance, an unwillingness to confront questions that have followed them for over a decade. Ultimately, the fascination with Cathy White's death and Blue Ivy's parentage reflects both the power of celebrity myth-making and the darker side of collective imagination. Whether driven by genuine suspicion, jealousy, or the internet's endless appetite for scandal, the story has become more than a question of truth or falsehood. It has evolved into a cultural narrative, one that continues to ripple through conversations long after the events themselves. What remains certain is that Cathy White's name has not been forgotten. For some, she represents a mystery never solved. For others, she symbolizes the dangers of becoming entangled in the orbit of the rich and powerful. And for many, she is a reminder of how speculation, once set loose, can take on a life of its own, growing, twisting, and enduring far beyond its origins. Whether or not the theories hold any truth, one fact stands unshaken. Whispers of Cathy White, Beyoncé, Jay-Z, and Blue Ivy remain etched into the folklore of celebrity culture. And until definitive answers emerge, if they ever do, the story will continue to haunt the intersection of fame, tragedy, and conspiracy.